Okay, it is lunchtime on Friday afternoon, and I'm at the Los Gatos Police Department. I'm going to wait and see if everybody can hear me when they come in. I am requesting some records on the heels of the 2 videos that I posted this week about Officer Harold Hoyt. The first video was taken in February or early March of 2020, and it was of Officer Hoyt making an arrest and an involuntary mental health hold arrest outside the Apple store. And the second one was a video I took a few weeks later when somebody called the police on me for recording in public. And Officer Hoyt came to the call. He knew my name. He knew my vehicle, and he wrote a ticket. So we're going to talk about First Amendment retaliation and how that looks in policing, and I've just done some records requests consistent with that. And I also went down to the planning department. I have my trusty public records dog with me. She's not looking very spry today. Miss Bassey-like, yes, I am being very Miss Bassey-like today. I wonder if our Johns, John Denicola and Johnny Bravo, are coming in, because they always tell me if they can hear. They're my sound check. Can you hear me okay? Can you give a thumbs up if the volume on this is okay? I just need a sound check. I can unplug my mic if it's better. Let me do that right now. I'm going to unplug my mic. Can you hear me better if I unplug it? I want to know if that's better or if it's better. Which one was better, Mark Holden? The first one or when I unplugged the mic? Just give me an indication, because I don't want to have cruddy sound. Very Miss Puppy-like. Okay, if it's better this way, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to flip it around, and you can see me in my work mode. But I want to talk about the videos that I posted this week and the records requests that I just made. So for those of you who have followed my channel, you might now understand investigative reporting is not a one-time catch cops doing something wrong, but it is a long game. It is years of investigations. It's following their careers. It's following their cases. It's following the culture of a department. Okay, thanks, Spencer, for saying that I'm louder without the mic, because I'm going to leave it unplugged. There's a fountain in the background, but if that's not causing any noise, then I'm going to just leave this like this. So I posted a video from early 2020 on the 5150 mental health arrest. There were 3 police officers involved in that, and one was Officer Harold Hoyt. And then the next day, I posted a video related to Officer Hoyt giving me an 18-inch parking ticket. And when he rolled up to a recording in public call, and the people were tension was a little high, businesses were closed, there was a lot of code enforcement activity going on in the town, forcing businesses shut, and some people were defying them. There was a cavalry church that ended up getting sanctioned millions of dollars, and they tried to hold their pastor in contempt for doing that. But I also got the records from that time of how many neighbors were reporting other neighbors or businesses in 2020, and that was a little surprising to me. So we've been working on all of these issues. There was a protest and a rally in 2020. Then there were some more that were politically motivated after 2020. The elections were very controversial, not just at a national level, but at a local level. And so I started following what the police were doing in that to look at selective enforcement. Were they allowing some businesses to stay open and not others? And how were they treating individuals? And at the center of every single one of our investigations kept coming up this Officer Hoyt. And that was the first time I had ever recorded police on the street. It was surprising to me. I didn't understand how easily the police could use their discretion to put somebody on a mental health hold. And police officers are not therapists. They might not have a long history about somebody. And hi, John, nice to see you in here. And so that got my attention. And we've been spending years getting public records requests. But the reason that I posted that video was because I wanted a second look. I wanted you guys to look at that video, and you did not disappoint. Somebody pointed out a number of issues. There were, of course, some unkind comments mocking one of the police officers, and I'm not liking that or responding to that. But I am looking at what else you are saying about what people are doing and if they understand what police are doing. And the video I posted this morning is I included Officer Hoyt's pay and benefits, which is over $400,000. And this is a town where the public records revealed that family court judges hearing domestic violence, divorces, and child custody cases, some of the worst in the county that I've seen, asked to do a ride-along with police officers. And the public records also showed those same police officers were attending this bar bench media police committee with Judge Towery. And while that may all be history and that's all shut down largely because of our reporting, it surfaced again when there was another code enforcement case involving a woman who was very politically supportive of President Trump. And that differs from the mainstream politics here in Los Gatos. And it has created quite a number of problems. And so when we do our reporting, we try to report right down the middle, because whether it's a police officer or a judge, it should not, Dominic, who wants me to make cookies and always makes your smart ass comment here. When you do, sure, I'll make you cookies. You want to pay for the ingredients and you want to sit there while I make the cookies, I'll make you some cookies. But in the meantime, I have work to do. And if you're not interested in that, you can leave this chat. So we've been doing a number of public records requests, and we found that at the time that all this police activity that appeared retaliatory in nature, that appeared selective, and that appeared political was centered around this Judge Towery and Judge Pegg running this bar bench media police committee and inviting only certain police departments. Los Gatos Police was one of the departments that was invited. 3 police chiefs participated in that bar bench media police committee. And so we're looking at the culture of what that did in the way of how people were treated in the town because that underground group was operating. And it came up when another code enforcement case came about involving the same individual. And this, for the first time, it was about her housing and short-term rentals. And the analogy of this is similar to the use of marijuana. For years, marijuana was illegal, and then we just suddenly legalized it. Well, this woman was doing short-term rentals at her property in historical downtown Los Gatos, and they shut it down. They chased her advertisements, they threatened her with code enforcement violations, and they shut her down. And shortly after that, Airbnb came about and everybody was doing it. And so when people face what they perceive as injustices, it tends to make them a little angry, it tends to make them defensive, it frustrates them. They might express that in public comment, they might seek redress of their government, which is completely First Amendment activity, including suing in court, which is protected under the First Amendment. And so we kept digging, and this is a case that started back in 2000 when Judge Dancer was rigging up some traffic tickets with local police. And we've looked at the various cultures of different police departments. And if you remember, one of the reasons I started recording police and reporting on them, because I had never done that before, even though I'd lived here for over a decade, was because the department hired Officer Jonathan Silva. And a bunch of media came out about that. He had beat the legal system as far as discipline. He survived internal affairs. He survived public discipline. And there was a lot of reporting on him after he basically beat up a mentally ill man in the library at San Jose State University. And he then resigned from that department. And I know the cop watching community would call it a gypsy cop. He then came into Los Gatos and he did it again. He repeated the pattern. So we seem to give police officers a lot of chances, and there are now patterns with other police officers, and Harold Hoyt is at the top of my list. So the last 2 videos were about Harold Hoyt, And now I'm gonna post some other videos. I'm gonna keep dropping them. Some of them are old, some of them are a mix, but I'm showing you the patterns that we saw over a 10-year period and how the police department was involved. The town now knows about the judge wanting to do a ride-along with police officers in a town where he was hearing these important cases. And there's one case in particular, it's the Lagressi case. And we're also looking at the Los Gatos Party Mom case, but we're also looking at all of the cases that I discovered arising from Los Gatos connected to a nonprofit known as Women SV. And Los Gatos seems to have a similar nonprofit problem with an organization called Cassie. So we've started doing our investigation about that. And Women SV was an organization that said that it supported women who were survivors of domestic violence, and primarily women. It didn't do anything for men who are also can be victims of coercive control and some other problems that end up in family court. And the Cassie organization focuses on mental health, and they go into our schools. So the individuals behind those organizations, including individuals like Lisa Pott, whose husband's divorce case we covered extensively, and that was connected to the Audrey Pott case that the DA used to get advanced. We're looking at how this all connected. So beat reporters are the reporters that go out and show you the smash and grabs. That's what you see on the nightly news. A lot of First Amendment auditors and cop watchers are really beat reporters. They're showing us what the police are doing on the street in a local community. And whoever said, ma'am, you ain't seen nothing compared to the UK, well, then what I'm showing you here, you can apply in the UK. You just need to get people to do this. These are, I don't know what your laws are in England about public records and policing, but I do understand there are similar laws that we have here in California. And what I try to do is show all of you how we do these long-term investigations, because any police officer making $400,000 a year and claiming to be a detective better be doing some damn good detective work that an investigative reporter could do, and not just writing 18-inch tickets and arresting people under an involuntary mental health hold. So we're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to look at how police departments are spending their budget and what the kinds of crimes they are addressing and which ones they aren't. And we're going to look at the individuals that we've caught on camera and that we see in the public records. So I just wanted to come live today and explain those last two videos that I dropped and the ones that I will be dropping. I am now going over to the private judge offices of Jeffrey Blum, because I just checked whether or not he had a permit and a business license in the town in Los Gatos where he advertises he does his business, and I don't believe that he does. But a private judge is required to notice their hearings, and their business or home where they conduct those hearings becomes a public courthouse that the public has a right to attend. And we don't believe that Mr. Blum, while he sat as the code enforcement officer in Ms. Hogan's code enforcement case, the second one, we don't believe he was complying with the law. And so we're going to go show that, we're going to audit that, and we're going to show our findings of how we do our work so that everybody can see exactly how this is done. And once I present the information, people are either going to hold their local governments accountable or they're not. But that's all I can do. So I appreciate every single one of you who have been hyping my videos, who have been commenting. I read all of those comments, and it's really important to my work. And so I appreciate all of the effort that you do. I do post occasionally on LinkedIn. I try to keep my videos current. I've not been so great on TikTok. And I do have a Twitter that I get to occasionally. Instagram is just a mental meltdown, and I usually put pictures to music so that I don't have to narrate there, because I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram, and I'm not at all on Facebook unless it posts from my Instagram. So that's where you can find me. And if you want to know how we really conduct investigations that police officers should be conducting and that town government should be demanding, keep following my work, because once we started with those videos, we're going to keep going, and as the records come in, we're going to keep reporting on it. So thank you, everybody, for all of you. Damon Reeves, mad love and respect back at you, all of you here. your tags, your shares, your hypes, your comments, your financial support, your messages, your emails, it all helps. And I do pay attention to all of it. So thank you, and everybody have a great weekend, and be sure you watch for the next videos.